Hi everyone and welcome back. Before departing to Munich for a high-end show this year, a little birdie told me that Meze Audio will be unveiling 2 new brand products. And being curious by nature, the very first booth that I visited was Meze Audio, and sure enough, 105 IR full-sized headphones were unveiled first, and then some tiny IEMs that I didn't check out immediately. Vlad, the mastermind behind these, asked me and then again if I have tried them, and having a deep respect for musicians and audio engineers, I sat down for a longer listen. I was surprised by the natural and effortless sound, but even more surprised by the affordable price point, which I'll mention in a second. These are called Meze ALBA, which signifies the first light of the day in my mother language, and I think that is the right time to check them out. I tried them first with an expensive and high-end digital audio player of Aston Kern and then with their very own USB Type-C dongle. To my surprise, there was very little difference between that expensive Aston Kern and this little dongle. I thought that they sounded absolutely great with both. And a few moments later, Vlad and Antonio asked us how much we thought that these are costing together with this little dongle. I think I said 900 euros. A friend of mine said 1000. And another friend said that these are sounding better than Right Penta, so they definitely should cost a pretty penny. The moment Vlad and Antonio told us that these cost 159 euros and 159 bucks, our faces went through different states of shock and excitement. We couldn't believe that, and we even asked if there are some hidden cameras or maybe we are part of the prank. No hidden cameras, as Meze ALBA were made as an introduction to Meze house sound and to compete with Chi-Fi IEMs and with much more expensive IEMs as well. Their shells are sculpted from a combination of zinc alloy and aluminium, so we do not have plastic parts in their construction, and I must say that they feel sturdy in the hand and look more expensive than their actual price. Since we're talking about single driver IEMs, their shells aren't so big, and I find them comfortable once properly inserted. 4 pairs of ear tips are provided, made out of white silicone, but I also tried a few memory foam tips, Comply and Spin Fit ear tips, and all of them worked no problem. Their stock cable seems to be well made. We have 2-pin connectors on the IEMs and 3.5mm termination. A USB Type-C dongle is also included in the package that, of course, boosts the sound quality compared to a tablet or to a smartphone, since it uses a superior and dedicated DAC and headphone amplifier circuit. It needs to be said that the USB Type-C dongle will work with both iOS and Android devices, and you don't need some additional apps or settings to start enjoying this little gizmo. It's a plug-and-play device, and once it's connected, you can see the first light, ALBA, emanating from the dongle. The cable quality is above decent and I find it sturdy. If you want an upgrade, any 2-pin cables will work with these. I tried a cable from an older pair of FiO IEMs and it worked just fine. As for tech inside them, we have a single 10.8mm driver that is bigger than usual. It's a full range driver that covers our hearing in full with its 15 Hz to 25 kHz frequency response. We have a low impedance of 32 ohms and also very high sensitivity, so you can drive these with pretty much anything that has a headphone jack. Even if we don't know what DAC chip has been used in this tiny dongle, it packs a serious punch and I was unable to reach maximum volume with the ALBA. If that's an important factor for you, these will sound louder with this dongle compared to any wireless IEMs or wireless headphones. You can see a concave surface with a hole in the middle on the IEM that will remove the air pressure in between your ear canal and the IEMs, making them comfortable long term and also the sound semi-open in a way. Before we move on to sound impressions, I have one important disclaimer to share with you. I've got these from Meze Audio in exchange for my video review. No other incentives were given, so this will be my unbiased and honest impressions. I use them most of the time with their USB Type-C dongle, but I also try these with a few portable digital audio players. I used streaming services most of the time, like Qobuz and Tidal, and in both cases the high-resolution content was played back natively without any kind of sample rate conversion. In the usual fashion, I tried these with a wide variety of musical genres, from slow and relaxing music to aggressive metal and electronica tunes. And what surprised me right from the start was how cohesive, natural and effortless these sounded. There is a sense of effortlessness, and when you combine that with a lifelike presentation, you get a very satisfying experience long term. The sound is not just lifelike and natural, but also fun to listen to. There's no way you won't smile, groove along, air guitar or headbang while listening to these. When crafting multi-driver IEMs, you need to deal with complicated crossovers that are trying to tame multiple drivers that have different impedances, different sensitivities, that respond differently to amplitude. Some drivers might sound faster than others. For example, balanced armatures are faster sounding compared to dynamic drivers, and that creates a timing difference. And no matter how good these multi-driver IEMs can be, there's always a sense that something isn't 100% right. That issue is no longer there with single driver IEMs like ALBA, and the first thing you'll notice with the ALBA is the perfect timing. Every sound is arriving exactly at the same time, and once you have the right timing, the things slowly start to align beautifully. The second part that impressed me was the dynamics, which I found punchy and fun. We have a bigger driver than usual. 10.8mm driver for a single driver IEM is a huge driver, and you'll definitely feel the force behind it when some electronica tunes will start firing some machine gun-like notes inside your eardrums. The sound is not as visceral and as physical as it gets with a pair of full-sized planar headphones, but it's not that far off, and you'll definitely groove along. I tried several Polyphia tracks, some of the newest electronic albums, and the bass was not just layered, clean and resolving, but also deep-reaching and quite impactful. The so-called transit response was above my expectations, and while these are not exactly as fast like balanced armatures, they definitely bring the oomph and put so much meat on the bone. These are slightly colored sounding IEMs, bringing forth a healthy dose of bass and mid-range energy, but honestly, this is the part I like most about them. The third part, which also left a long-lasting impression on me, is the controversial Soundstage. I know it's crazy talking about imaging and Soundstage in a pair of IEMs that cost just $159, but man, I don't know what ritual dances, what voodoo dances both Antonio and Vlad performed when creating these, but they do not sound like your regular pair of IEMs. I have an educated guess that this hole right here is somehow improving the separation of the notes. Also, we have a bigger driver than usual, and also this is a single driver IEMs. So all of that combined makes this truly exceptional, quite big sounding, very transparent sounding, which is actually quite unusual. Of course, they do not sound so big like a proper full-sized planar or dynamic headphones, but they sound more open and slightly bigger compared to the Chi-Fi IEMs that I have at my place. The sounds were playing mostly inside my head, but they were not fighting for prime time in between. There was a decent separation in between the notes. Everything was perfectly arranged all around, and I must say that they sounded airier and slightly bigger compared to a pair of Kinera Skuld, Moondrop Kato, Moondrop Starfield, and very similar to a pair of Hifeman Svanar, which, mind you, are by about 30 times more expensive. Crazy, right? Let's talk a little about their resolution, or the so-called detail retrieval. This part didn't impress me so much, not because Alba are not resolving, but because I'm used to super resolving sounding speakers and headphones, and also because Alba do not have any sharpness boosters applied like Hifeman Svanar are doing. While the resolution is pretty high on these, the trebles aren't sharp sounding, and no matter how bright your recordings will be, forget about lowering the volume when a sharp cymbal or snare drum will be hitting. Forget about listening fatigue with this, because there is nothing like that in here. If you need some brief comparisons, I find them more resolving compared to 7Hz Timeless, compared to Kinera Skuld, compared to Moondrop Kato, Moondrop Starfield, Fire FH7 compared to Rise Solo by Meze, considerably clearer compared to Rise Solo, and very similar to Rai Penta, which are more expensive. I specifically didn't include lots of Chi-Fi comparisons with the Alba because I believe these are definitely clearer and more resolving than most of them. Last but not least, their frequency response feels complete top to bottom. However, the parts that will impress you a little bit more are their mid-range and bass, quantity and quality wise. The bass starts early on, so you can hear those 20 Hz notes pretty easily. It has lots of rumble, lots of definition, lots of punch. I find it energetic, layered and punchy, but it's not overpowering the rest of the frequency response. Probably the nicest part about Alba IEMs are their sweet, beautiful and seducing mid-range performance. I started listening to Nat King Cole, Dave Brubeck, Junior Wells and then to Ben Webster Quintet, and I simply couldn't turn down the music. The flow, the attitude, the grain, the natural textures, all of that put me into a relaxed state of mind. I poured the drink and I sat in my chair for longer than anticipated. They do justice to mid-range in all its beauty and might, like most Meze headphones do. The trebles are decently clean and extended, but they lack any sense of sharpness or over control of the notes like some IEMs are doing. But even in this state, I do believe they sound considerably clearer compared to their 99 Classics and Rise Solo. The resolution is a serious step up, and so is the control and extension of the treble. I personally like this kind of treble that is not trying to slash my eardrums with a sharp katana. And if you like an easygoing presentation that is not trying to offend you in any way, then Alba will be easy to enjoy long term. Wrapping up, if it feels that I didn't complain much about this, it's because I find them close to perfect from so many points of view. For Thor's sake, I find them more enjoyable and more fun sounding compared to a few flagship level IEMs. On a technical level, they impressed both the DACman and also the transit response guy. There is enough resolution to hear Tom Morello press on its pedal board, and there is more than enough transit response to hear the fastest drummer in the world without lowering its tempo. But above all else, I find them so fun, enjoyable and natural sounding. Considering that we get a close to perfect pair of IEMs and also a detachable USB dongle that you can use with pretty much anything, I'm shocked by the actual price point. And I do think even at double the price, there wouldn't be so many competitors that will sound so great and have so many features and also have the same build quality. So they easily won my highest gold award, and I don't know what IEMs I'll try this year, but they can potentially win my best IEM award for 2024. This is how highly I think about them. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Drop me a like and a subscribe if you like this video. Be open-minded and I'll see you very soon. Cheers!